Do you know what the Prism program is? It is the high-level spying on American citizens. Guys, I could not believe what I put together. Something that James Comey had done years ago, high profile, and guess what? My suspicions were confirmed. Not that I want them to be. But do you know what the Prism program is? It is the high-level spying on American citizens that effectively said that FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, was not applicable to American citizens when it came to terrorism after 9/11, Patriot Act. So all of this has to do with the Prism program, which was not even learned by any journalist until years after the incident happened. So watch, this is very interesting. Just follow me. You don't have to watch me, just listen. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, speak soon.
One day earlier.
Mom, wife here. Listen, let's get right to it. James Comey is a lightweight. He's an actor, and I don't mean in the way that Ronald Reagan was an actor before he was a politician. No, this guy. He should have covered my ass on his tomb. I'll tell you why. And you can check me out. Go in the description and you'll see the links I got from Phyllis Facts, all right? Back to facts. First thing, brought him to the national stage is under George W. Bush, the younger. He was Deputy Attorney General of the United States. Yeah, can you believe it? Hey, mob wife here. Happy Monday. Guys, friends, I wanted to make sure that I remind you to help us out, right, with Back to Facts, because it's a crucial time right now for everyone. And you know, you're getting the inside scoop from someone who's been following this real closely. So don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications, all the bells and whistles, so that you can help out. There was this mythology. I didn't think it was mythology until today, because what I thought is that he had somehow weathered and come out triumphant through some kind of a constitutional crisis involving John Ashcroft, then Attorney General, and the President and White House counsel, Alberto Gonzalez. And the only person who ever spoke about this sort of showdown was James Comey himself, telling a very friendly Senate Judiciary Committee meeting, telling Chuck Schumer, who went over his time by 16 minutes, telling him in great detail about how when John Ashcroft had pancreatitis and was in intensive care for 6 days, no less, Alberto Gonzalez and some other guy from the White House came over, Andrew Card. They seem to be trying to get John Ashcroft to sign the renewal for that Prism program. Yeah, the one that we didn't find out about until Edward Snowden, right? But it was that program that then some journalists went back and realized, proved that was the program. Back in 2007, they were trying to renew it. And according to James Comey, he was the hero. The interesting thing is, though, they renewed it a few days later. And I was saying, you know, I didn't go through all of the excruciating details of the 2016 election, how Comey sat on the Wiener laptop for more than a month, okay, and to cover his ass, he sent the letter to Congress. So in case you haven't put it together, the reason that this is so bad, that Comey sat on this laptop info, is that had he immediately begun an investigation of the emails to and from Huma Abedin, who was married to Anthony Weiner at the time, then that story would not have been in the news cycle right before the election, which really does, oddly enough, as strange as it seems, does affect things. It affects the public mood. It affects their vote to be having the details of something like that. Like what? Anthony Weiner sexting an underage girl. That laptop, it just so happens that he is married to Huma Abedin, who is Hillary Clinton's assistant. And there were copies of emails that had been destroyed after the subpoena was released. Whoops! by Hillary for America. So if they found more emails, I'd be, oh, we need to look through them, which is what they ended up doing. But the public does not know. They had no good reason to sit on that. Think about it. Election year, you know good and well, nobody wants to overtly try to influence the election or be seen as doing so as such. So what happens? He has no good reason to sit around and fiddle around with whatever his political agendas were. Yes, I can say that. And this is all from the Horowitz report, the Inspector General of the FBI, that came out so much later. All right, you needed that context. So what happened was no one would have ever known that maybe he didn't investigate that in a timely manner, no less, had it not been for the NYPD. Yeah, can you believe it? Him and Peter Strzok, devil guy, smile. Him and Peter Strzok sat on the fact that the NYPD had sent the info and or data or the actual laptop, who knows, from the Anthony Weiner case. Because they had found emails written by or sent to Hillary Clinton on her private server, I believe. And when NYPD didn't hear anything back, they were like, hey, we don't want to get caught like sitting on this. So they contacted Strzok and Comey. Hey, you guys, you good? You got the laptop? We haven't heard anything. And we saw this in Inspector General Horowitz report. Phyllis Fact showed it to me. So what happened was they then launched the investigation. This is why Comey made such a seemingly bonehead move, all right? Listen, Hillary may very much have won if it weren't for James Comey. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. It wasn't some innocent or bonehead error. This was, and this is my interpretation, but you tell me a better interpretation of the fact that he comes out with a letter to Congress disclosing that this evidence came out, because as everyone knows, he may very well have turned the tide of history. So for him to do that, it was because he was genuinely scared. What was he afraid of? Comey was afraid that if he didn't send a letter to Congress, that it would be found out later that he did the investigation and didn't reveal it. But he was also aware that if he did the investigation and didn't inform Congress, that he might be blamed for changing the outcome of the election. So a savvy actor that he is, a performer, okay, could be a writer, producer also, but what he did is he wrote the letter, and he observed on May 3rd, 2017, yes, I do remember, that it made him mildly nauseated to this day, that he did or may have changed the outcome. You know, when I first started watching this cat, it was his speech patterns. Yeah, very, very calculated. But I'm talking, I can't confirm that the investigation occurred. I can't even confirm that there was an investigation, but I'm willing to comment on it, yes. But not unless it's behind closed doors. At least not super vaguely, anyway. The guy is such a fake rat, which brings me to the next blunder. All right. The next blunder on our list is that he admitted to Nicole Wallace of MSNBC I think during Trump's first term as 45, or perhaps even after that, but not recently. He admitted that basically he entrapped Michael Flynn. Now, he would never admit it. He said, well, now that he's pled guilty, I can talk about it. So yes, I'm a lawyer. I follow all the lawyerly things in public. Well, he starts to talk about how, well, Flynn lied. This is the longer clip, which most people don't see. Well, Flynn did lie. And to this day, I don't know why. I wouldn't tell you if I knew why, even if I did. And then, of course, the thing that everybody on the right remembers is when Nicole Wallace says, how did you get Flynn to be interviewed by your people? I just I sent them. Yeah. And everybody laughs. I figure it was early in the days of the administration. This wasn't an organized administration like George W. Bush administration or President Obama. And everybody's like, yeah. So I just sent them and figured it would be okay. And then, we went in and but that, my friends, did not age well. And that to me shows a lack of discipline on the part of this guy, right? He's really letting some stuff either slip, or in the case of Trump really did have a good reason to fire him. But you know what? I'll get to that in part 2. If I ever do get to part 2, looking at the record of this Phyllis Fax anyway. Did you know she's my cousin? Yeah. That's how we understand organized crime so well. She understands how it works. Well, I better not say too much. We need to be in control of our ego. We need an ego check every once in a while. As Phyllis says, above all, remember, keep calm and share complete facts. See you soon.